Should we move on? There's one super interesting question about CBD enriched coffee, and how about that? So maybe I'll read it out. Do you know of roasted coffee being sprayed with caffeine extract, similar with how CBD infused coffee is produced?
It's interesting. I have heard about coffee which say that they have like a super high caffeine content, like 200 to 300 times more than a normal coffee. I work in marketing, so that totally sounds like a marketing story. But whether that's scientifically true or not, I cannot say. But it sounds interesting.
That sounds dangerously unhealthy. 200 to 300 times more. I would maybe not try to drink this.
I think it could work. So one thing people are using for marketing tools, like for the zombie coffee, they're using Charles calling work related. Do you have to accept the call? Then we can make a call with 4 of us.
No.
So I think one tool people are using is for this like higher caffeine content is they're using Robusta coffee and labeling it intelligently. And the other thing, what is known is that if you have roasted coffee and if you quench it with water, you can load the coffee pretty much with everything, because the roasted coffee works like a sponge when cooling down.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, hypothetically speaking, roast coffee and then spray for whatever enriched water you have, caffeine enriched, CBD enriched, or what companies did in former times, sugar/caramel infused water onto the beans, and the beans soak up, and you will have an enriched or fortified coffee. Yeah. But I don't know if people are really doing it. There might be always.
I would personally prefer the other way, to have still tasty coffee, but without caffeine, so I can have a coffee before going to bed.
I think this could be more an age-related problem, huh, Samo?
Maybe just in general, I can't fall asleep anyway, so even with coffee, it's even worse.
So the next question, which was addressed to us, is like, in case you have time left, and we have some time left, I'm curious what you guys think about the 5G health concerns as you're in Switzerland.
We have 5G in Switzerland?
I was about to be relocated to Australia, so I was not thinking it over too much as I was supposed to leave. I think it's about to come, yeah.
And me, for myself, I don't believe in health adverse effects as long as it's not scientifically proven. So if there's a study one day which shows that it is bad for my health, yeah, but up to that point, I will be like, yay, 5G.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, there's studies, but I haven't paid attention to this topic that much, but I haven't seen like some really clear study that there would be some really problematic health effects.
No.
The problem with these studies is that usually test subjects, which are rats or some kind of animals, mice, they get bombarded by the radiation in concentrations tens or hundreds times higher than what is worst case exposure, right? This is with radiation, with carcinogenic compounds. It's always this problem that you see something in a study, how do you relate it to real life?
Yeah, and I think, as you just mentioned, with studies and carcinogenic compounds, one good example for coffee is acrylamide, for example. It was like found with a very high impact, like adverse health impact on rats, like being carcinogenic, but for humans, it's still actually outstanding if the effect is that big as it was postulated in the early 2000s, because we're not just eating acrylamide, but a lot of more stuff. So from my perspective, I would say acrylamide is not that dangerous for human consumption, or like for humans in general, in coffee at least. Okay, next one.
Yeah, because if you would, sorry, just if you would take coffee as what it has in, like the chemicals, you really wouldn't want to drink this.
No.
Kind of, if you take separately those chemicals, when you see those chemicals, no, that's not good. But but in terms of having only low concentrations and all together in a soup of different chemicals, in the end, it all looks like it's a health benefit rather than a danger, right? Because so many people drink coffee, we would already see that it's not healthy for us. But it's actually the opposite. That's what we see.
So how about we go on with 2 questions regarding health, as we are already at the health corner. The first one is in the current situation, and for all people who might watch this in 1-2 years, the current situation is COVID-19, like coronavirus pandemic. So in the current situation, I'm wondering whether polyphenols in fresh roasted coffee can be antibacterial and increase our immune system. Who wants to start?
Not the marketing director.
Not the analytical chemistry scientist as well. I can just give my opinion, but I'm not the expert.
So then maybe I will start.
I think that the antibacterial polyphenols, this doesn't sound right. Increasing our immune system with some food, fortified food, or some polyphenols, this is also a bit of not a lot talking about, but very little scientifically proven data around.
No. So first, I think you already mentioned that polyphenols in general are antioxidants and not antibacterial. So there might be no impact, no antibacterial impact. And the next thing with the immune system is that polyphenols and antioxidants in general, they show mid to long-term effects, not short-term effects. So you would not expect something within the next 5-7 days by just drinking 2 cups coffee more. But over a lifespan of a human person, by drinking 4 cups to 6 cups a day, this is scientifically somewhat not proven, but there are indications that 4 to 6 cups a day might decrease, for example, anti-inflammatory, might be anti-inflammatory or like decrease risk of Parkinson or diabetes or other kind of like inflammatory diseases. But this is more like a long-term effect than a short-term effect. Okay, and I think I will just go on there and connect. One question was like, is coffee really healthy, and what causes the health benefits, and which are these? So I maybe put this question to myself already. Is coffee really healthy? As someone said before, with studies, it's always hard to nail down healthy effects of certain foods because we just do not eat only, or we just do not drink only coffee, but we eat a lot of stuff. But some cohort studies, and also in correlation with modern statistic methods, had shown that coffee might contribute to potential health benefits. So there was this huge claim 1 or 2 years ago: coffee drinkers live longer, and those beneficial health effects are might be caused by chlorogenic acids, like the antioxidant capacity of coffee in general. There are certain compounds besides chlorogenic acids which are also health beneficial, for example, trigonelline and the degradation products like nicotinic acid and so on and so further. And all those compounds, all in all, also with the chlorogenic acid, they do decrease our risk of Parkinson's disease, of Alzheimer's disease, of diabetes type 2 disease. They help to lower our blood pressure, and so there are health beneficial effects. But I think the most important is that coffee or those compounds could be highly potential antioxidants, and in a long term might contribute to our health. So I was using a lot of might, potential, and so on and so forth, because I don't want to be cited that, Sara said that coffee is the holy grail and we can cure COVID-19 with it. So it's always taken with a little bit of awareness that studies are limited and we don't drink just coffee.
Yeah, okay. Remember 2000, was it 2006 or 2007? I was working in marketing, and we started to put the claim on coffee bags that coffee is a great source of antioxidants, and maybe even the biggest source for the human being in the current life. But that also considering that maybe the way we live today is not that healthy anymore, and coffee suddenly becomes like the biggest source for antioxidants, because we just don't eat like other healthy food. So we also have to see what are the circumstances, the environment, and how are we living. I think just saying coffee is healthy as such, it's a little bit a tricky thing, no?
Yeah,
I think I have to confirm here definitely this with relating coffee and lifestyle. It's very important in this kind of studies, because in the past, coffee was considered unhealthy, and it was also, there was one study that connected coffee with I think bladder cancer or something, some cancer, but they found that it was actually the correlation between coffee drinkers being also smokers, you know, in the let's say 80s, in this era. So, and it was because of this that coffee was kind of in a bad view, you know, because a lot of people who used to drink coffee, they also smoked. But nowadays, I think coffee has a different people with different lifestyles started to drink more and more coffee. Of course, smoking rates went down a lot in the last few decades, but also coffee is more connected with a healthy lifestyle than it used to be. And this is also one thing that we shouldn't forget, that perhaps it's the coffee drinkers just have a healthier lifestyle in general, you know, eat more fresh fruit, eat more healthy food, fresh vegetables, and so on. And this all builds up to that these studies that Sara mentioned that show that coffee is actually health beneficial. It's hard to narrow down if it's only coffee or is it overall effect of the lifestyle of those people who drink coffee.